You wouldn't survive 10 minutes in the Stone Age. Not 10 hours, not 10 days, 10 minutes. If you were dropped into the world your ancestors lived in with nothing but what you know right now, you would be dead before lunch. And the thing that would kill you isn't what you think. It's not the saber-toothed cat. It's not the cold. It's something so basic, so embarrassingly simple that you would never once in your life had to think about it. We'll get there, but first let's see how far you'll actually make it. The first thing you notice is the silence. No engine hums, no air conditioning, no refrigerator buzz, just wind, insect, and the distant sound of something moving through the bush. Your brain would immediately enter a state of panic it has never experienced before. Not because you're in danger, not yet, but because every single sound around you is unidentified. Every rustle could be a predator, every snap could be something hunting you. And your nervous system, the same one that gets overwhelmed by work email, would be firing on every cylinder it has. And you haven't even stood up yet. Okay, you pull yourself together, you stand up, you look around. Here's your first real problem: water. You need it within 3 days or you die. Simple enough, right? Find a stream. Except you have no idea how to find a stream. Your ancestors could look at the slope of the ground, the type of vegetation, the flight pattern of birds, and know exactly where water was from a mile away. Researchers at the Max Planck Institute found that modern hunter-gatherers groups like the Hadza of Tanzania can still do this today, reading the landscape like you read a menu. And you can't even tell which direction is north without your phone. Okay, let's be generous. Let's say you stumble onto a stream. You're thirsty, you're desperate, so you drink. Congratulations. You may have just killed yourself. The water is full of parasites your immune system has never seen. Your ancestors had gut microbiomes that had co-evolved with these pathogens over hundreds of thousands of years. Their bodies could handle water that would put you in a hospital bed. Anthropologist Daniel Lieberman at Harvard calls this the mismatch. Your body was built for one world. You live in a completely different one. And the gap between those two worlds? It's lethal if you cross it suddenly. But water is just the beginning. Now you need food. You look around. You see plants. Some of them look like they might be edible. Here's what you don't know. Roughly 20% of wild plants are toxic enough to make you violently ill. About 1 in 10 can kill you outright. Your ancestors spent their entire childhood learning which plants were safe, not from a book, but from watching their mothers, their grandmothers, their aunts. This knowledge was passed down through thousands of generations of trial and error. And by error, I mean death. People died so that their grandchildren would know not to eat that berry. You have none of this knowledge. You couldn't tell the difference between a wild carrot and a hemlock. One feeds you, the other one kills Socrates. Okay, so you forget foraging. You hunt instead. Except you won't, because hunting in the Stone Age was nothing like what you picture. It wasn't sitting in a tree standing with a rifle. Your ancestors used a method called persistent hunting that would pick an animal and run after it, not sprint, run for hours, sometimes an entire day, chasing it under the hot sun until the animal collapsed from heat exhaustion. And here's the wild part. Humans can outrun horses over long distances. We cool ourselves through sweat. Most animals cool themselves through panting, which they can't do while running at full speed. Biologist Dennis Bramble and paleoanthropologist Daniel Lieberman published a paper in Nature in 2004 proving that the human body literally evolved to run. Our Achilles tendon, our nuchal ligament, and our ability to stabilize our head mid-stride, all of it built for endurance running. And here's the catch. The average modern person can't run a mile without stopping. Your ancestors ran 10 to 20 miles in a single hunt. And you'd collapse in the first hour. And the animals you were chasing wouldn't even know you were there. So let's say by some miracle you find food and water. You're alive, you made it through the day. Now the sun is going down. And this is where everything changes, because you have never, not once in your entire life, experienced real darkness. Even on the darkest nights, you can remember there was light pollution on the horizon, a street light, the glow of the phone. The Stone Age, when the sun set and there was no fire, the darkness was total, absolute. You could not see your own hand in front of your face, and in the darkness, everything that wanted to eat you could see just fine. Leopards, hyenas, wolves, cave bears, all of them had night vision that made your eyes look broken. Your ancestors survived the night for one reason: fire. But making a fire from scratch, no matches, no lighter, nothing but what's lying on the ground, is one of the hardest survival skills that exists. Archaeologist Andrew Sorensen at Leiden University spent years studying how early humans did it. Strike flint against pyrite to create sparks, catch the sparks on dried fungus, blow the fungus into an ember, transfer the ember to a nest of dried grass, nurse it into a flame. Every single step requires materials you'd need to find and prepare. But even modern bushcraft experts take 15 to 30 minutes to do this. Your ancestors learned it as children, the same way you learned how to tie your shoes. You'd be sitting in the pitch black, listening to the things move around you with no light, no idea how to make one. Think about that for a second, just sitting there in the dark, listening. And here's what makes all of this even worse. You would be alone. Humans were never designed to survive alone, not even close. Everything about Stone Age life was communal. Hunting required coordination, gathering required shared knowledge, childcare required the entire band, defense against predators required numbers. Anthropologist Robin Dunbar, the same researcher who gave us Dunbar's number, had argued that human brain in itself evolved primarily to manage social relationships. Our neocortex is disproportionately large compared to every other primate, not because we needed to solve math problems, because we needed to navigate alliance, trust, and loyalty within a group. Survival was a team sport. A lone human in the Stone Age wasn't brave. A lone human in the Stone Age was lunch. But here's the part that nobody talks about, and this might be the most humbling thing you'll hear today. We think of Stone Age humans as primitive. We picture them gathering in caves, dragging clubs. The word caveman exists specifically to make them sound stupid, but the reality is that your average Stone Age adult carried more practical knowledge in their head than you will ever learn in your entire life. They knew hundreds of plant species by sight, smell, and taste. They could track an animal across hard rocks from a single partial footprint. They could predict a storm from the behavior of ants. They could navigate hundreds of miles with no map, using stars, landmarks, and spatial memory so precise that neuroscientists still can't fully explain how it worked. Researchers at the University College London found that London taxi drivers who memorize the entire city layout have measurably large hippocampi than average. Now imagine what 300,000 years of navigating raw wilderness did to the brain of your ancestors. We traded all of that for Google Maps. We traded fire making for a lighter we buy at a gas station for 99 cents. We traded the ability to read a landscape for the ability to read a menu. And that's not a bad thing. It doesn't make us stupid. It makes us specialized. We are extraordinarily good at the world we built. But the world we built is one power outage, one supply chain failure, one really bad week away from looking a lot more like the Stone Age than any of us want to admit. So remember that thing I said would kill you? The thing so basic you'd never had to think about it. It's knowledge. Not strength, not speed, not courage, knowledge. Your ancestors weren't primitive. They were specialists in the hardest profession that had ever existed on this planet, staying alive. And every single one of them succeeded, because even one of them hadn't, you wouldn't be here right now. You are the product of an unbroken chain of survival, stretching back 300,000 years. Every ancestor found water, found food, made fire, dodged predators, found a mate, and kept a child alive long enough to do the same thing all over again. Not one of them failed, not once. And you, their descendant, the end result of all of that, couldn't last 10 minutes in their world. And honestly, that might be the most incredible thing about being human. We didn't just survive the Stone Age. We built a world so safe, so comfortable, so completely removed from the one we came from that we forgot survival was ever hard at all.